confirmed by the American government. What do you think about that? Is it a victory for President Obama?
Let's hope not. No, I don't think that's a good way to deal with our problems. He's born here. Al-Awlaki was born here. He's an American citizen. He was never tried or charged for any crimes. Nobody knows if he ever killed anybody. We know that he might have been associated with the underwear bomber. But if the American people accept this blindly and casually, that we now have an accepted practice of the president assassinating people who he thinks are bad guys, I think it's sad. I think, what would the people have said about Timothy McVeigh? We didn't assassinate him. We knew certainly he had done it. They went and put him through the courts and they executed him. But to start assassinating American citizens without charges, you should think very seriously about this.
Does that only apply to American citizens? I mean, would you say the same thing about bin Laden?
Not exactly, because he was involved with, 9/11, and I voted for authority to go after those individuals responsible for 9/11. Al-Awlaki. Nobody ever suggested that he was participant in 9/11, so they've never been specific about the crime.
Congressman, over the past 2 weeks, an ideologically diverse group of mostly young people have gathered at Wall Street to protest, among other things, bailouts and crony capitalism and corporate welfare, which you've talked a lot about. Do you have any comment on the demonstrations?
I haven't followed that very closely, but if they're complaining and they want to demonstrate and they're doing it properly and not, hurting people and causing property damage, people should have the right to complain about what they think is going wrong in this country.
Would you say you support those aims generally?
Support whom?
Their aims generally in curtailing.
Well, I haven't looked at them in detail, but if they're complaining about the same thing that I'm complaining about, I think for people to speak out, they certainly should be able to.
And over the course of my reporting, I have encountered some of your supporters there who are talking about the Federal Reserve and that sort of thing.
Well, like I say, if I knew the whole details, then maybe I could give you a blanket endorsement. I don't know exactly, but if they're very similar to my complaints, if people aren't doing harm and causing problems, yes, they should be able to speak out.
Congressman Paul, you spoke about the excess of bleeding hearts and the programs that have gotten us into the mess that we're in. I just spoke with the gentleman inside there who said, well, what about, I'm concerned about the people who've paid into the system for 50, 60 years like myself. What do you say to those folks, to the elderly and those?
I say to them that if Congress would have followed my advice and my habits, there would be no problem, because I've never voted to spend 1 penny of Social Security, even though I don't think that is a good system, and we're at a possible end result of this. We don't have the money in the bank. But since I never voted for the war, I never voted for 1 penny in the general revenue to be taken out of Social Security. Under my conditions, I would have run it more responsibly. The money would be there, and we would not have this problem. Also, even in the transition that I talk about, going from where we are today and getting out of it, I say don't cut short those people that we promised to take care of in the old age and child health care. And that would be high priority to protect as best we can, although it's not ideal. And that means I'd have to cut a lot of money elsewhere. That's why I talk so much about cutting many hundreds of billions of dollars overseas and taking care of the people that we've made these promises to.
Your campaign raised $5 million this quarter.
Pardon me?
Your campaign raised $5 million this quarter. Is that enough to win? Are you satisfied with that number?
Minimum of $5 million. It's going to be more.
Well, the 5 million or 6 million or whatever, I quite frankly don't pay a whole lot of attention to that, because I don't think that's the litmus test. I think if it was 100,000, I'd be, very worried. But we're going to get $5 or $6 million. It will come from a lot of donors, enthusiastic people. Everybody knows that supporters in our campaign are very enthusiastic. That, to me, for every dollar we collect, probably is worth 10 of those who do it by bundling and a special interest. Send in the money, and that represents a special interest. I represent individuals who care about their personal liberty, and therefore our dollars go a lot further. We definitely need money, but we don't need $1 billion. I mean, if you need $1 billion to compete with $1 billion, this country is in big trouble. Congressman, are you upset with all this Chris Christie talk?
You talked a lot today about your economic message.
Are you with the campaign? I'm with Reason Magazine covering Congressman Paul this weekend. If there's any way I could get maybe 10 or 15 minutes to sit down with him sometime over the course of the day? No?
I apologize.
Well, if people change their minds and decides